YuGiOh is a unique TCG.
Not only in gameplay mechanics, but in the fact it doesn't rotate out its card pool.
Because of this, certain cards that were deemed unplayable or overlooked at first have a chance to appear depending on new strategies and the modern meta.
On one hand, these cards just boost a deck's potential, but on the other, they can cheese out an easy win over the other player.
But what if YuGiOh had a restart?
Could this game be revised with the benefit of hindsight? If so, what would that game look like?
These are the questions we wish to answer. I'm Dakota.
And I'm Cody. Join us as we create custom packs based on the originals, but change certain rarities of cards as well as eliminating other cards to make sure their toxic behavior never sees a game mat.
Welcome to the YuGiOh Revision Series. How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of the Revision Series. I am joined here, like always, with the Earthbound Immortal himself, Cody. Cody, how are you doing today?
Trying to get my thumbs in frame.
Yeah, slightly.
There we go.
There you go. So, we are getting ever so closer to Christmas, bud. How are you feeling about the holidays?
Oh, pretty good, buddy. It's a white Christmas where I'm at right now.
Fine,
if I ain't drunk, it ain't Christmas.
Yeah, there you go.
If I ain't drunk, then it ain't Christmas.
Before we talk about the pack, just want to say, if you like the video, hit the like button down below. Leave a comment. We want to see your guys' feedback. Also, hit the sub button. It helps us out a lot. We want to reach our current goal of 100 subs. If we get there, we plan on doing a review of YuGiOh the movie, which we actually have the movie theater packs that Cody so graciously bought for us.
6 of them still stuck in their top loader.
Alright, so for today's episode, we are opening up Photon Shockwave. I believe that this is the last pack in the year of 2011.
I don't know about that, but I'll go with it.
It's either this is the last one or the second to last one. So to talk about some of the cards that we wanted to highlight, the first card I wanted to talk about is a secret rare in this pack. It is Rescue Rabbit. Rescue Rabbit is a level 4 earth monster. It cannot be special summoned from the deck. You can banish this card from that you control for cost. Special summon 2 level 4 or lower normal monsters with the same name from your deck, but destroy them during the end phase. So this is a very powerful card. This one card becomes a rank 4 instantly. This card pretty much shaped the meta after this. I think that people were still trying to figure out what was the best in terms of ratios and additional tech cards to throw in your deck, but everyone knew that this card was crazy, so they were all playing it at 3. Funny enough that you could actually play this card while throwing in like 6 copies of a normal monster, so you're playing like 6 bricks, which is pretty crazy. But then again, the games are slower, that you could probably get away with that. But for a while, this card was defining the meta to where they were just winning pretty much every major event for several months straight. And this card was actually better compared to what we're going to be using it for, because at the time they were playing with priority, which we are not. So there was no negating this card.
Going to my first pick now. A little backstory first, though. I'll try to be quick. So, Dakota introduced me to an archetype that I am a big fan of. I have built a deck around it. I took this deck to locals like 2 years ago. I've gotten quite a few wins at just home events with this deck. Time Lords.
Yeah.
It kind of fits my whole gimmicky thing with this channel. And this is the only Time Lord we're going to get in any of these sets, so I figured now is the time. Meteon the Time Lord. So he's a big boy, 0 attack, 0 in defense. He cannot be special summoned from the deck, but if I control no monsters, I can normal summon him without tributing. He cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, and I take no battle damage from attacks involving this attack position card. At the end of the battle phase, if this card battled, return as many monsters on the field as possible to the hand other than this card. And if you do, inflict 300 damage to your opponent for each card returned. And then once returned, during your standby phase, shuffle this card into the deck.
Yes.
So it's got protection, but you can't get around it. It shuffles itself back, so it acts as a wall for a turn. And if your opponent does attack into it, or if you attack with it, it's essentially a board wipe, and you get burn damage.
As a archetype, this is a very annoying deck, just because everything that you summon has protection. We pretty much left this card as a secret rare just because this is actually a very strong card if you pull it going second. Being able to just normal summon a guy, bounce everything back after the battle phase. You need very specific cards to try to out this card. In the modern format, this card, or these kinds of cards, are not so much of a problem because everyone is playing Imperm, and nothing is funnier than having a Time Lord player attack into your monster and then you activate Imperm. So the next card that I wanted to talk about is a super rare in the pack. It is Feng Huang, I believe is how you pronounce it. It's a fire level 6 spirit monster. Cannot be special summoned. During the end phase of the turn that this card is normal summon or flip face up, return it to the hand. Same effect as the other spirit monsters. When this card is normal summoned, you can, or flip face up, you can destroy all set, spell, and trap cards your opponent controls. So this card is somewhat of a walking Harpy Feather Duster.
As long as you keep fodder for the tribute.
Yeah, so pretty cool card, I think, overall.
Next up is another pretty cool card, I would say. It's also super rare. I have Shard of Greed. It's a continuous spell card. Each time you draw a card or cards for your normal draw in your draw phase, place 1 greed counter on this card. And then you can send this card with 2 or more greed counters to the graveyard to draw 2 cards. So you put this card down in 2 turns. If it isn't outed, it's a pot of greed.
A much slower pot of greed. The last card I wanted to talk about is a common in this pack. It is a spell card known as Monster Slots. This card has the effect, target 1 face-up monster you control and 1 monster in your graveyard with the same level. Banish the target from the graveyard, then draw 1 card and reveal it. Then if the card you drew is a monster of the same level as the monster on the field, special summon it. If you're trying to spam level 3s, level 4s, or level 5s, and you built your deck in the right ratios to where you feel pretty confident that you're going to draw into another one of those monsters, you can play this card, get an additional body to the field, XE summon. Requires a little bit of setup to play this card, but if it resolves, I mean, you get a free body, but even if it doesn't resolve to its full effect, you still get to draw a card.
All right, and my final pick is a rare card. It's Evil Serato. It's a monster with 1900 attack, and if this card is special summoned by the effect of an evil tile monster, it gains 200 attack. And then if this card was special summoned by the effect of an evil tile monster, each time this card destroys an opponent's monster in battle, you can add 1 evil tile monster from deck to hand. So it can get buffed, it can recruit.
Overall, like, I would say in terms of like the evil evil tile cards, this is like the best main deck one, besides like I think it's like either the flip or one of the evil tiles. When it's tributed, you get to special 1. I'm not completely familiar with that strategy, but I do know that Serato is a very good card for that strategy. Even better than those cards are obviously the Xyz monsters that affiliate themselves with it, which is Dolka and Logia. Funny enough, any deck that was playing Rescue Rabbit can actually summon Dolka and Logia better than Evil Tiles can. So those are the cards that we wanted to highlight. The rest of the pack just has additional tech cards. We had some new Dark World cards in here. They have a new main deck monster. They also have a new continuous trap. Slowly introducing more gem cards in here. We have the Gem Turtle. We have new Photon support in here, Wind Up support, Watt cards in here as well, and Watt Cobra probably being the best Watt main deck monster in here.
We also have probably like the best that I know of, like the best non-tribute summon, normal summoned beat stick with Alexandrite Dragon.
Yeah, a new normal monster that has 2000 attack.
Yeah, level 4 2000 attack.
Yeah, so we got like some new main deck staple cards in like Kage to Kage. That's a really good card if you're trying to make rank 4s. Shard of Greed is in there to draw cards. Ego Boost is a new quick play spell that boosts your monster by 1000. But also just some like staple extra deck cards as well. Again, we have Dolka, which is a non-once per turn monster negate and destroy. Logia, that can negate summons, spells, or traps. We have Giga Brilliant, which is a new rank 3 that buffs itself. Not just itself, but anything else that you have on the board. Wind Up Zen Mains. It's another rank 3. This card is actually really good. It has like 2100 defense. If it were to be destroyed, you can detach a material instead. And then during the end phase, if it used that effect, you get to pop a card on the field. So your opponent kind of has to think twice about how it is that they're going to out that card. Overall, Cody, thoughts on the pack?
I think it's a pretty good set. You know, obviously I'm a little skewed because it has the only Time Lord I'm going to possibly have a chance to get.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool to see some interesting support here. Rescue Rabbit's probably potentially going to become a game changer here. Some new support for older archetypes. Some new shit just in general. Some interesting synchros too. I think it's a bit of a markup from the last set of synchros we got. Or no, Xyz.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a markup from the last set of Xyz we got where I think they're more useful. Yeah, overall I think it's a pretty decent set. Nice step in the right direction here.
I agree. I think that we're finally seeing the power level of the main deck cards going up finally, as well as the extra deck cards. The extra deck cards are more like utility, besides like the rank 5s from the last pack being actual boss monsters. This one, they have utility and they're bosses, so it's a double whammy. I think that's enough talking about cards. Should we talk about games?
Let's duel some games.
Yeah, sure.
All right, guys, so we're back. Week 2 of the Xyz era, and I have seen the light. Playing light fairies this week with a bit of a dark side. So, Aeronite Parshath, you saw him weeks and episodes ago. I'm talking months ago. I think was the last time you ever saw him on this series. He's a 1 tribute. He gets piercing battle damage if he attacks a defense monster, and if he inflicts battle damage, he draws me a card. 3 Kelbeck. So if Kelbeck is attacked by a monster, after damage calc, it'll bounce that monster to the hand. It's also got 1800 defense, so it's a nice little wall to start. Bringing back the Majestic Mechs, Goryu here, I can summon without the normal tribute requirement. I can do 1 tribute. But if you summon that way, he disappears in the end phase. He goes bye-bye. And then if it attacks defensive monster, I get piercing battle damage as well. Oka is similar. It doesn't get the piercing battle damage. I can summon it without having to tribute. But it does still go away during the end phase. Manju is here because I am playing Ruin. This gets me access to Ruin or End of the World. Meteon of the Time Lord. I said at the top how much I love the Time Lords. This is my only chance I can see currently to get to actually play it. So here I am. Next up is Trust Guardian. This is the tuner I chose. It can only be used for the level 7 or higher Synchro monster, but each time that Synchro monster was used for will be destroyed by battle. I can instead have that Synchro monster lose 400 attack and defense at the end of the damage step. Ruin is up next. Normally you see me play Demise, but I chose Ruin instead for the whole fairy effect. When this card attacks, destroys an opponent's monster by battle, I can activate the effect to make this card do a second attack in a row. Next up, 3 Bait Doll. Celestial Transformation is back? Maybe. I can special summon a fairy from the hand. Its attack is halved and is also destroyed during the end phase. The beautiful thing about that is that gets me access to things like Trust Guardian, or if I have to normal summon like Trust Guardian, I can summon into something else, like maybe a higher level, and get access to some synchro plays. Or if I have Meteon in the hand, and I already have a monster on my field, or it's Dakota's turn, I can use it to summon Meteon. Since his attack is already 0, that won't matter, and Meteon can't be destroyed by card effects, so he won't be destroyed. End of the World to summon Ruin. Enemy Controller is back, Heavy Storm, Instant Fusion is back, and I've got a special little thing down at the bottom there, a little present here for Dakota. Monster Reborn is back, 2 copies of Shard of Greed, new edition. I went over this at the top. It's basically a pot of greed after 2 turns. Force Back, Rikiki Break, and Solemn all make returns. Now for the side deck, this is where that bit of dark side comes in. So obviously because I'm playing a lot of lights and a lot of darks here, I'm playing BLS, bringing that back after a long time. And then I'm doing a huge side of the Jinn monsters because they get easier access to the rituals. And then with that, I can use them from the graveyard for ritual summoning. And they give Ruin effects as well. So Curse Enchanter, Ruin will be on the field. Synchro monsters' effects are negated. With Desarier, it makes Ruin unaffected by trap cards. With Presider, if it destroys a monster by battle, I get to draw a card. And with Prognosticator, if I inflict battle damage with Ruin, my opponent discards a card. And because I'm playing light fairies and dark fiends, which these are all fiends, I'm playing the Sky Scourge cards, which I played one time before, I think. Never got to summon them, though. 1 copy of Invisil. It cannot be special summoned. It has to be tribute summoned by tributing one of the following monsters, and it gains the appropriate effect. If I choose a light fairy, it negates the effects of all spell cards. If I choose a dark fiend, it negates the effects of all trap cards. And Sky Scourge Norlaras. It cannot be normal summoned or set, cannot be special summoned, except by removing from play 1 light fairy type and 3 dark fiend type monsters from the graveyard. And then I can pay 1,000 life points to send all cards on the field and in both players' hands to the graveyard, and then draw 1 card. So this can easily change the state of the game if I choose to go into this, if I have the ability to. Swalloton makes a return from the last time I played fairies. If I have 2 monsters on the field that both get destroyed by battle during Dakota's turn, I can special summon this card. If I special summon that way, I can choose an attribute and destroy all face-up monsters with that attribute, and then your opponent cannot normal or special summon monsters with that attribute so long as Twalaton is on the field. So if summoned that way, Twalaton becomes a walking floodgate if Dakota is playing a single attribute monster type. Finally, I've got Icy Crevasse. When exactly 1 monster I control is destroyed and sent to the graveyard by my opponent's card effect, I can target a monster my opponent controls, send that target to the graveyard, and if I do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack in the graveyard. Finally, the extra deck here, my instant fusion targets. I've got Flame Ghost returning, I've got Guiltia, and new edition, thank you crafting, Thousand Eyes. I finally have a solid pick for instant fusion that isn't just going into a synchro or an Xyz play. Avenging Knight Parshath makes a return. Black Rose, Dark Strike, Stardust, and Thought Ruler all make returns. Leviathan Dragon's back, Terabyte's back. Wind Up Zen Mains is the new edition here. And then finally, Wind Up Zen Maester is back. I believe I used it last week. So yeah, that's the deck. I'm starting off with a light fairy engine, essentially. If that doesn't work, I have some Dark Fiends with the Regins I can go into to make my rituals even stronger. And should I choose to, I can even go into BLS or the Sky Scourge monsters. And now finally having access to Thousand Eyes. So that's it. Let's get out there and, let's go for broke.
Alright guys, for this episode, we have a pretty cool deck here to show you. This is Frogs. So I've been waiting to play a deck just like this, but we were missing one key piece, which was Treeborn Frog. Because of the last episode, I was actually able to craft a single copy of this card. When it came to my craft, I was stuck between a couple different decisions. I was honestly thinking about crafting a Rescue Rabbit, but I thought that this was a strategy that we have yet to see. This is a deck that I actually quite enjoy when it comes to Edison format. I won't be able to play it at its fullest potential just because of the lacking numbers of Monarchs that I have access to, Thestalos being the only one that I do have. But I felt like if I was going to try out this type of a deck, this might be the last chance, just because power creep will eventually creep into the Xyz era, and I think that a strategy like this might start to become like obsolete. But I think today's episode is actually going to be the telltale whether or not it is or isn't. So for the rest of the cards, we have 3 copies of Jawsman. This actually has quite a bit of synergy when it comes to this deck. One, because it's a water, so it actually plays into Moray of Greed. I opted to play 3 copies of this because of the water. Not only that, but it also has 2600 attack, with the chance of getting bigger because it gains 300 attack for each face-up water I control. And out of my tribute summons, this is the only one that if I need to out a bigger body, this is the only one that I can use to do it. I have 1 Thestalos just to rip a card out of his hand. Kaiser Glider cannot be destroyed with a monster with the same attack. And if he does leave the field and to the graveyard, target 1 monster on the field, return that target to the hand. So this card has some level of protection, but it also has a insurance policy attached to it. For our last tribute summon, we have Prime Material Dragon. This card keeps me protected from effect damage, which is pretty nice. But even better, during either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated that would destroy a monster on the field, you can send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard to negate the activation and destroy it. We don't have a whole lot of cards that negate and destroy, so being able to tribute summon one so easily is actually very strong. Next, we have 2 copies of Snowman Eater. I can just set this guy, have him attack into it. It has 1900 defense, so it's not most likely that he's actually going to run over this card, and I get to destroy one of his cards in the result. We have 3 copies of Dupe Frog because I want to try to establish the Dupe Frog lock, which is when you get 2 of these on the field, your opponent can no longer attack. And when this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add a frog monster from deck or graveyard to your hand. So just an easier way to get a hold of some of my other frogs. 2 Swap Frog. I wish I had a 3rd copy of this because on normal or special, I can dump one of my other frogs to the graveyard. The best target for this obviously being the Treeborn Frog. 2 copies of Ronin Tonin. He's got 2000 defense, and I can also banish one of my frogs to special summon him from the graveyard. So just another way to get another body onto the field. 1 Unifrog. If I have another frog on the field, this card can attack directly, and if I do, I can destroy a spell or trap my opponent controls. Next, we have the Treeborn Frog. This card comes back during my standby phase if I have no spells and traps. So that's why I'm not playing a lot of like either continuous spells or traps, or just like a lot of traps in general. I really don't want to be setting a lot, because if I can't get my traps off the field, the Treeborn Frog won't come back. We have 3 Battle Fader and 3 Swift Scarecrow. Both of these cards just have the ability to stop my opponent from attacking directly. Swift Scarecrow, I send from hand to the graveyard to do so. Battle Fader is a little bit better because it specials itself, which then gives me a body to tribute over for my summons. A new card that we have is 1 Day of Peace. Each player draws 1 card, and neither player takes battle damage or takes any damage until the end of the opponent's next turn. So I can't quite end the game if I end up activating this card, but this is a card that I can use that if I'm in a pickle, I can draw the card, and now I can't die for the next turn. 1 Smashing Ground to destroy one of his monsters. Instant Fusion. 1 Enemy Controller. A cool interaction that you have in this deck is that you can use the Treeborn Frog, bring itself out. You can then tribute the Treeborn Frog for the enemy controller, steal one of his monsters, and then because it's still in the standby phase, the Treeborn Frog will come back. 2 Pot of Duality. So this has some conflicting aspects of this card with this deck. If I Treeborn Frog during the standby phase to bring itself back, I can't activate the Pot of Duality. But if I have yet to establish that, or I just don't plan on special summoning that turn, I can use the Pot of Duality to fix my hand a little bit. 2 Moray of Greed. Shuffle 2 water monsters from my hand into the deck, then draw 3 cards. 1 Creature Swap. 3 Bait Doll, Heavy Storm, Monster Reborn. 1 for 1. This is another way that I can get access to the Treeborn Frog pretty easily if I don't have access to the Swap Frog. Finally, 2 of the Ocean Dragonlord Trap card. Until the end phase, face up level 3 or lower monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. So if I really need my bodies to stick and the only thing that I have are the frogs, This is a way to keep them protected by battle. And then I have them for the next turn to tribute over. For the side deck, 3 Cyber Dragon for going second, 3 copies of the Fool. This is in case if he just has answers every time I bring out one of my monsters. This card cannot be outed by battle. 2 Double Cyclone for spell and trap removal. 1 Ring of Destruction, Calm Pulse. 2 copies of Good Goblin Housekeeping. This is a way to also just fix my hand. The next 3 cards are kind of just like funny cards just because Cody tried to pull this off onto me on a previous episode. But we're playing Drastic Drop Off, and Time Seal just to make sure that as I'm controlling the board state, I'm also being able to control his hand as well. Then for the extra deck, we have the Instant Fusion Targets and some synchros. Honestly, I don't expect to make any of these. I'm not playing any tuners, but there is a world where depending on whatever monsters that I have on the field and he has a tuner, I could use enemy controller to steal his tuner. So that's why these cards are still in here. But more or less, I plan on just actually winning the game through my main deck instead. So that's the deck. I think that this is a really cool strategy to try out. It was impossible to do without the Treeborn Frog. So I'm hoping that this is actually a success. The Treeborn Frog actually becomes quite the annoying card for him to deal with. We do have access from previous packs cards to banish cards out of the graveyard, but because of the strategies that we end up typically playing, those cards are kind of dead. So I'm pretty sure that he's not going to have an answer for the Treeborn Frog. And that's kind of the deal with this deck. If you can't really out the Treeborn Frog, you're going to have a hard time trying to win against this deck just because the Treeborn Frog always turns itself into a bigger body, which then you need to have an answer for those cards. And then even if you do, you kind of run through all your resources trying to out the bigger cards while the frogs are still, you know, doing the rest of the work for you. But I'm excited to try out this strategy. So let's just go ahead and get into the games. Okay, game 1, Photon Shockwave. How you feeling about this game?
Well, I'm steadily releasing some Photon Shockwaves in between takes here because I've been drinking some light beer. So I've been like, you know, I've been Rick Sanchezing this shit.
You gonna start belching in between your sentences?
Oh, I bet one's gonna come out during a duel. I'm willing to bet.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious to see what you built today.
Oh.
Ooh, wasn't good enough.
I turned myself into a rock, Morty. Okay, so now the question is, what do I want?
That is a question, isn't it?
I'm gonna go first.
Okay, I like it.
I don't know if it's the right move, but we're gonna do it. Jesus Christ. Stand by to main.
Yes, sir.
I'll start with the set. I will normal Manju.
Oh shit, here we go.
Yeah. Declare effect.
Yep.
Let's pull End of the World.
Sure.
And that's gonna be my turn.
Okay. I will draw. Stand by to main. Well, let's just start with a Bake Doll.
Yeah. So that does force activation, which kind of sucks.
Oh shit. Ooh, you gotta neg so much for this.
I guess I'll target your bait doll and I'll send another Maju for cost.
Okay. All right. Next, I'm going to activate Moray of Greed.
Oh, you're playing water.
I'm going to send this Unifrog and Jaws Man back to the deck.
Jesus, that thing is scary looking.
It's like the ugliest card I've ever seen.
I guess. Yeah.
And I'm gonna draw 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, to the graveyard with the. All right, next I'm going to activate 1 for 1. I'm going to send for cost a Swift Scarecrow.
Oh, okay. We're playing that.
And I'm going to special summon for the first time in the series. This was also my craft. Treeborn Frog.
Oh no.
Oh no. Here we go, bud. Tribute said frog to summon Prime Material Dragon. I will go battle and I will swing in.
All right, so that is a cool 1k for me.
I'll go main phase 2. I got nothing else, so I will simply pass the turn. All good.
Yeah, that's my turn.
Oh shit, here we go. Standby phase, Treeborn Frog. We will bring him out. We'll go to the main phase. Let's sack it. We're going to summon the Jaws Man. Battle.
Oh, that's
26.
a hot 5k for me.
It's a lot. And 24. Main phase 2 and pass.
Man, we might actually get done by 11 here. Fuck. Stand by to main.
Go ahead.
I'm pretty sure this is game anyway, but why not have a little fun with it? Activate instant fusion.
Sure.
Paying 1,000 for cost. You're gonna get to see my craft now.
Oh
too.
no, you have Thousand Eyes. There he is. Wow.
Thousand Eyes.
Okay.
Declare Thousand Eyes, take your prime material.
Unfortunately, yeah, that will go through.
Yeah, pass turn.
Okay. All right, I will draw. Standby. We'll get the frog. Main phase. Yeah, I guess just battle, right? 26.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Woo! Let's go, frogs.
All right, putting her all on the line.
There you go. Game 2. I take it you're gonna go first again.
No, I'm actually gonna go second.
Oh, okay. All right, we'll go standby to main. Let's just let's activate Moray of Greed.
Okay.
We're going to do a Snowman Eater and a Ronin Tonin. 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to set a card. Back to you.
Oh, standby to main.
All good.
I'm gonna set one card. Actually, I'm gonna set 2 cards. Jin Presider of Rituals.
Yeah,
I shall go battle.
sure.
I'm going to attempt to hit.
It's Treeborn Frog.
That it is. That's my turn.
All right,
Don't wear it out.
I'll draw. Standby phase, Treeborn. We'll go to the main phase. I think,
Chilling.
yeah, I think I'm just chilling. Go ahead.
Oh wow. Okay. Standby to main.
All good.
I think unfortunately I am too.
Oh, wow. Okay. Standby to main. Let's go for a Pot of Duality. Ooh, look at these cards.
You just shuffled 2 of those back.
I did, yeah.
And Battle Fader. Wow.
Let's grab the Snowman Eater.
You're still playing Battle Fader?
In this deck, it's actually pretty good. Snowman Eater.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to set a card and pass it back.
All right. Standby to main.
All good. Surprised you that you're back on the rituals again.
Yeah, I mean there is a kind of a reason for it, but well, I guess I have to do this. I'm gonna activate Celestial Transformation.
Sure.
To special summon Meteon the Time Lord.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I shall go to the battle phase,
Sure.
and I shall hit with Meteon to Treeborn.
Yep.
Battle phase, Meteon will trigger.
Yeah.
So send back 3 cards, and you'll take 900 damage.
Sure thing. That is 9. And
This goes to hand, right?
to the hand, yeah.
Yes, okay. Wall in main phase 2.
Yeah.
I'll set a card, normal summon back the Jin, and pass turn.
All right. And the Time Lord does not die because it cannot be destroyed by card effects. All right. Standby to main. Let's activate 1 for 1. Pitching Treeborn Frog for cost. Let's go for Scarecrow.
Scarecrow.
Yeah. Let's set a card and pass it back.
All right. To draw standby, Meteon will get shuffled back to the deck.
Correct.
Main phase.
Yep.
I'm going to activate End of the World,
Sure.
pitching Jin and Kelbeck.
Kelbeck. What?
Kelbeck
All right.
for Ruin Queen of Oblivion.
Oh, okay.
Not Demise this time.
Yeah. Surprising. I'm going to be honest.
Yep. I'm going to go battle phase,
Yeah.
and I will hit your Scarecrow.
Sure.
And now I can draw a card thanks to Jin. 'Cause every time I destroy a monster by battle, I can draw a card.
Oh, that's correct. Yeah.
And that lets me activate Ruin's effect. I destroy a monster by battle, so I can make a second attack in a row.
Sure.
And I will attack your set.
That is Snowman Eater. I will pop this.
Unfortunately, I think that is fine.
Cool.
So I don't get to draw then, do I?
I think it's marked as destruction as it flips and then it activates. So I think you still do.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong about that ruling. I've never had that actually pop up. But how many times have I actually played against Ruin Queen of Oblivion?
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, let us know.
All right, so I'll draw that card.
Sure.
I guess that's it.
Okay. I will draw. Standby. I'll get the frog. All right, main phase. Let's go ahead and we're going to sack off the frog for the Stalos, and I'll use the effect.
Yeah, I'll change Celestial Transformation. Was Meteon.
You drew it again. Okay. All right, so now resolving the chain. I guess it doesn't
I'll
really.
shuffle again.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
That would be Baydal.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll just pass here.
I was gonna say, I dare you to attack me.
Yeah, I'm good. I could actually. I could just bounce my own Thestalos. I'll take the
And use it
3
again.
and I can use it again.
Because you have Treeborn, so you can just use it again.
Dude, Treeborn is so crazy.
Standby. Goodbye.
Yep.
I think I'm forced to set.
Okay.
Oops. Main phase.
Yeah.
Do that again. All right. So I'll set a card, and then I shall pass the turn.
All right, I will draw. We'll go standby to main. Or standby, we'll get the Treeborn. Okay, now we'll go to main phase. Let's go ahead and we're gonna activate Moray of Greed. We're going to put back a Jaws Man.
Okay.
And a Jaws Man.
Jesus Christ.
Draw 3, 1, 2, 3. I guess I'll just go battle and I'll swing in.
All right. That's my Trust Guardian.
Oh, okay. Main phase 2, not much going on, so I will pass.
All right. Stand by to main.
All good.
I shall set a card, and I shall pass turn.
All right. I will draw. Standby to main.
All good.
Heavy. Oh, man, he's thinking.
Solemn.
Oh! Holy shit, that card must be crazy that you have down there. Let's duality.
Okay.
Let's grab this, we'll take the prime material.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, and top deck, shuffle. All right, we're going to sack this off, summon the prime material dragon.
I'm going to force back that.
Ooh, to the hand.
So I had a feeling you were going to do a summon this turn, so I was like, I need Solemn, that way I can actually stay alive.
We'll go battle. I mean, you got one turn left, possibly.
It's better than turn or game 2 being done.
We're gonna go to the main phase, and
Because, well, I guess not, because I wouldn't have been done anyway. I had a full AK. Never mind.
and I'll just pass.
Either way.
Either way.
Standby to main.
All good. Hopefully you drew something pretty decent.
I drew this.
Okay.
Pass turn.
All right, I'll draw. Standby. We'll get the Treeborn.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Main phase.
Yep.
Let's try it again. Battle. Prime material.
Just because I'm going to activate Enemy Controller targeting Festalos.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's game.
All right. Let's go. Fucking frogs, dude.
Yeah, Treeborn Frog's a fucking menace.
Dude, he's crazy.
You have to banish him, essentially.
Yeah, you do. I was thinking
I don't
like
have anything to do that.
I was thinking if this deck was even relevant at this point, because this deck is actually really good in Edison format, but that's still, I think, like early 2010 is that format. And so we're almost approaching like 2 years away. And even then, when people play that deck, like they're pairing it up with Monarchs, which I only have Destalos, and they always play 2 copies of Treeborn.
Yeah, I was so fucked here on the draw. Hey, there's Mateon again.
Oh, you drew it again. There you go.
If you're curious what was in my hand this entire time, because there was a brick in my hand for like most of those turns, and I kind of think I fucked up. I should have let you take the Mateon, but I still maybe, well, maybe not, because it wouldn't have worked either way, because I would have had to, yeah, it wouldn't have worked, because I would have had to send it to the graveyard. I had this in my hand. Tualatin again.
Oh,
the problem is his effect works if I have a minimum of 2 monsters destroyed by battle. I had him in the hand, but I only had 1 monster destroyed,
right.
so I couldn't summon him. I didn't expect you to out-ruin so fast.
Yeah, his condition is quite unique, but it is a powerful card once you actually get it. All right, buddy, tell me what you're working with here.
So the main strategy going into it was essentially fairies. I wanted to play some fairies, some light fairies, but I started in the Djinns because they're dark fiends, and I actually had the what are they called, the Sky Scourge cards.
Yeah.
I had them in the side. I also had BLS on the side.
Okay. Yeah, you got some light and darks going on.
Yeah. So the main strategy with round 1 was to just kind of hit you with light fairies, ruins in there as like kind of like a boss monster of a sorts. And if I needed to, game 2 or 3, I could side into a much more heavy ritual support with the Djinns. All my side deck was mostly Djinns, siding BLS, siding the Sky Scourge. Yeah, essentially it was just like a light fairy deck trying to ritual support. And then I kind of figured if I could pop it off correctly, which I was able to, or was it Djinn Presider, since she gets the ability to attack twice in a turn, I can actually draw 2 cards. Or if I use Prognosticator, I can make you discard 2 cards. So that was hopefully the play.
That's for battle damage, isn't it?
Is that battle damage?
Inflicts battle damage, discard a card.
Prognosticator's battle damage, yeah.
Yeah, and then ruin.
Well, either way, if you're not playing, I didn't expect you to play so defensively with your frog strategy. I didn't expect that at all.
Yeah.
I also realized a lot of my back row is fucked because you weren't playing back row, really.
Yep. So
like my bait dolls are fucked. My Regeki breaks are kind of fucked. Heavy Storm is fucked.
Kind of just another reason why I wanted to try this is that the deck plays completely different to other decks that we have tried before in the past, where we do end up playing a healthy amount, I think, of trap cards, I feel. Whereas with this deck, in order to constantly get the Treeborn Frog back, you can't play back row. You can, but you got to make sure that you get rid of it so that Treeborn Frog can actually come back. And it also
continuous. Yeah, what's that?
Yeah, it also has like a little bit of counterplay with Pot of Duality, because if you do get the Treeborn back during the standby phase and you just so happen to draw into Pot of Duality, which I had, which I did do in this game, you can't use the duality, but it is kind of like a resource management kind of a deck. So your goal is to just constantly pop up on resources while committing very little resources.
Which I think is exactly why you're playing Battle Fader and Swift Scarecrow. And it just also happens to benefit that they're level 1s.
Honestly, the fact that I was able to do that with 1-for-1 was not my actual intention. Obviously, this card is like, if you don't get Swap Frog to dump the Treeborn Frog, you kind of want to draw 1-for-1 to get the Treeborn Frog. Able to do what I did with the Scarecrow was simply just to get the Treeborn Frog out of hand, which was actually kind of a cool interaction right there.
I am surprised, though, that our discussion last week after the wheel, you couldn't remember what I had talked to you about, the extra deck monster I was thinking about crafting.
Nope.
So then when I landed on craft an extra deck monster, it was suddenly really easy to make a decision.
I mean, there's so many options. I mean, we both probably had like an interesting time deciding what our craft was going to be.
I mean, that's the thing. Like when I look at like the XE so far or the synchros, I've got pretty much all the vanilla ones. So it's like, do I really want to craft a archetypal XEs or synchro monster, or do I want something better with Thousand Eyes, which has like a universal use?
Yeah, it kind of just gives you like an additional reason to always play Instant Fusion. That's why I really like Instant Fusion as a card right now, just because it's pretty flexible. Like, so before we were simply only doing it either for Thousand Eyes or to give us a non-tuner to pair up with our tuner. But now with this new era, it gives us another body to go into an XEs, and or for my deck, it just gives me a body to tribute over. All right, buddy, here we are. We are back at the wheel. Let's go ahead, give you a spin, see what you land on. Oh, damn. Craft a main monster.
Oh, boy.
That's crazy.
That's not limiting at all.
I was stuck between maybe like 4 different cards, and I'm kind of glad now with hindsight after the game that I went with Treeborn Frog, because I was still kind of on the fence whether or not this was going to be relevant or not. But I mean, yeah, you have so many choices right now. Just looking at like the last couple sets that we opened, there's like Tour Guide, Tengu, there's Rescue Rabbit now. If you want to go like old school, there's stuff like Sangan.
Oh man, a searcher would be nice.
Yeah.
I am seriously lacking on searchers, like old school searchers that can pull like anything.
Yeah. I don't know if you have Tour Guide, but if you do, like, I feel like Sangan is a really good pick for that. All right, we'll give it another spin, see what I land on.
Shit.
Ultra Secret. Wow, what a pack to land on too for that.
Wow. You need Craft a Time Lord.
What were
or
the
Rescue Rabbit. Ultra, you can get the Dalkas. 1 day piece you already have.
Yeah, but 2 would be even funnier. That's one cool thing I like about this pack, is that when you get to the lower rarity stuff, it's stuff that's actually really cool if you try to actually build the decks for those archetypes in the low rarity stuff. But even the high rarity stuff, these are really strong cards. I'm not quite sure, but we'll spin again, see what the other option is going to be. Craft a Trap. Wow.
Solemn.
There could be a second Solemn in your future, bud.
Don't you already have one?
I only have 1.
That's what I meant, yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd have 2 then?
Yeah. Putting it at 2 would make it a lot better. Sometimes I refrain from actually wanting to play it just because we do play Bait Doll. You got some planning to do. I got some planning to do. These were some interesting games. All right, guys, that's going to bring an end to this episode. We actually have to hurry up and rush out of here. We both have places that we got to be at.
Yep.
But thank you again for watching. Thank you guys for all your support. Again, if you like the video, hit the like button, leave a comment. We want to see your guys' feedback. Also, hit the sub button. Help us reach our current goal of 100 subs so we can do a review of Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie. Cody, same as always, closing thoughts.
Fight the fairies.
Fight the power, man.
That's a Supernatural reference for anybody who gets it.
All right, guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
I do have to head out of here probably as soon as possible because school's out early and I have to be there slightly before 11.
That actually works for me too, because I was hoping to be done by 11:30.
All right, perfect. Well, when it comes to it, if we're pushing for time, you can just concede. So.
Oh, okay. Tell you what, gentlemen's, we'll do a game of dice rolls for it.
Okay.